In this video, we'll be looking at how we can freeze and flatten tracks in live, as well as resampling and reasons that we might need to freeze or flatten a track. Freezing a track allows us to bounce a track down to an audio file in order to save CPU. Freezing is non-permanent, so if we want to change something later on, we can unfreeze it and edit the track. When a track's frozen, it's completely locked and no editing can take place. Once the track's frozen, we then have the option to flatten the track. This makes the frozen bounce permanent, including any plugins or effects on the channel. This may only be reversed by using the undo function, which is Command and Z. Pressing flatten will render the track to audio and remove all the plugins. Freezing audio also allows you to use third-party plugins, while still being able to send your collaborations to other producers for editing. They'll be able to hear your track exactly as you produced it, regardless of if they own the third-party plugins or not. This also means that when they send the edited live set back to you, you'll still be able to unfreeze the tracks and make additional changes to the third-party plugins. To show this freezing process in action, I've created a few MIDI tracks with effects on. As you can see when I go to the clip and right-click, if I click this, you can now see that the track's clips and devices are greyed out to show it's been frozen. We can now click Flatten Track from the right-click drop-down menu, or we can press Command and T to create another audio track. We can now hold down the Alt key and drag the frozen MIDI clips into the new audio track, and they'll instantly be copied over as rendered audio, including any sound effects or third-party plugins as well. This is ideal if we prefer working with audio, but like to keep a backup copy of all the MIDI tracks and plugins to revert back to if necessary. Once again, it's important to remember, this will also render any third-party or external information that may be getting processed as well. We may also just want to freeze tracks as we go. This allows us to lessen the load of CPU as our track gets bigger. After all, once a track requires no further editing, it's pointless letting it eat up valuable CPU with labour-intensive plugins if you don't have to. Next we have resampling. Resampling's main uses date back to when hardware in studios was limited. Rather than having 24, 48 or unlimited multi-track recording possibilities, many studios could only record 4 tracks at a time. If an artist or a producer wanted more than 4 tracks, then resampling the individual tracks into stems was a good way of getting around this. To resample, all we have to do is create a new audio track and go to the input-output section and set it to resampling. This tells Ableton that this track will be recording everything that's heard from Ableton Live. Ensure this track is also set to ARM and monitoring is set to in or auto. We can now hit play on our track and press record in the resampling track to capture Live's audio. If there are certain tracks you don't want to record, you can either mute them or you can solo the tracks that you do want to hear. As you can see, I can now solo the resampled track and press play to start playback. It is now resampled all the individual tracks that were played to one stereo file, as you can hear. To recap, in this video we've covered freezing and flattening and why we might need to use these functions to save CPU, and we've also covered sampling and resampling.